Good morning. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. This is the continuation of our subject and we are going to proceed with the Philippine prison system. So the Philippine prison system, we have, ito yung sabi natin, meron tayong Bureau of Corrections, including the Bureau of Jail Management and Penology and the Provincial Jail, which is managed by the provincial government. So number one, we have Bureau of Corrections. So Bureau of Prisons was renamed Bureau of Corrections. Dati ang tawag sa Bureau of Corrections is Bureau of Prisons. Na-rename siya under Executive Number 292, Executive Order 292. Always remember, ito yung pinaka-importante sa lahat, huwag kakalimutan. Executive Order 292 is the the law that creating the Bureau of Correction from Bureau of Prisons during the Aquino administration. Remember that during the Aquino administration, it states that the head of the Bureau of Correction is the Director of Prisons, who is appointed by the President of the Philippines with the confirmation of the Commission of Appointment. Remember how the Director of Prisons being appointed, it is appointed by the President of the Philippines with the confirmation of the Commission of Appointments. Okay? The Bureau of Correction has general supervision and control of all national prisons, penitentiaries. It is charged with the safekeeping of all insular prisoners confined therein or committed to the custody of the Bureau. So, lahat ng prison facilities na meron tayo sa Pilipinas is under the supervision or in charge. They are in charge to the Director of Prisons. We have coverage of the Bureau of Corrections, including National Bilibid Prisons. It is located or situated in Muntinlupa, Rizal. Number 2, New Bilibid Prisons, which we have main building. Then Camp Sampaguita. Ito, tandaan lahat dito. Camp Sampaguita, Camp Bukang Liwayway. Then, we have Reception and Diagnostic Center. Ang tinatawag natin RDC, the Correction Institution for Women, Mandaluyong, the Penal Colonies. So, yan. So, Mandaluyong, tatandaan niyo yan. Meron tayong penal colonies. Ang penal colonies natin, we have Sablayan Penal Colony and Farm. Tandaan niyo kung saan ito situated kasi kapag tinanong sa inyo sa board exam, tapos di nyo alam kung saan ang location ng penal colony na ito, kapag tinanong sa board exam, so hindi mo talaga masasagot. O kaya, anong penal colony ang nasa Occidental Mindoro, for example? So, ang sagot is Sablayan Penal Colony and Farm. Iwahig Penal Colony and Farm, we have Palawan. Makikita niyo farm, wherein the prisoners are allowed to be engaged in farming, agriculture, para kung sa gayon ay nakakagawa pa rin sila ng mabuti at saka kumikita sila. Okay. Davao Penal Colony and Farm, we have Central Davao, okay. San Ramon Penal Colony and Farm, Zamboanga. Iloilo Penal Colony and Farm, Iloilo Province. And Leyte Regional Prison, it is situated in Abuyog, Leyte. So, tandaan, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, Mandaluyong, tapos Iwahig Penal, meron tayong New Bilibid Prison. So, what is the definition of prison? A penitentiary, it is called a penitentiary because a person is being held for ang tawag dito para magsisi sa kanyang ginagawa, an institution for the imprisonment, incarceration of persons convicted of major serious crimes, para pagsisihan nila yung kanilang mga ginawang masama. A building, it is also a building. Take note of the definitions because kapag di mo to inintindi ng maayos, hindi ka kumuha ng certain words, key terms na pwede mong sabihin na ang itong definition na ito ay prison, so hindi mo talaga masasagot sa board exam. Usually with cells or other places established for the purpose of taking safe custody or confinement of criminals. Okay. A place of confinement for those charged with or convicted of offenses against the laws of the land. So all all convicted criminals charged with an offense against the laws of the land, so they are called our prisoner or inmates. Who is a prisoner? Take note, inmates and prisoner are synonymous words. They are used. A prisoner is a person who is under the custody of lawful authority. So, who are those lawful authorities? So, those engaged in the jail facilities, jail officers, and so on and so forth. A person who, by reason of his criminal sentence or by a decision issued by a court, may be deprived of his liberty or freedom. Take note of the word. Lahat ng tao who by reason of his criminal offense, naging prisoner siya. Or by a decision issued by a court. So kapag mayroon tayong a decision issued by a court, final verdict, so yan ang tinatawag natin prisoner. A prisoner is in a person detained, confined in jail. Okay, the word detain and confine. So when we say detained, they are awaiting for trial, or their cases are under investigation. So they are called our prisoner. Intindihan ninyo, ang detained, confined in jail or prison for the commission of a criminal offense are convicted and serving in a penal institution. So detained, confined, so sila yung mga taong nandyan. A person committed to jail or prison by a competent authority for any of the following reasons. Okay, the following reasons, remember, to serve a sentence after conviction, trial, and investigation. So kapag sinabi natin after conviction, so mayroon tayong trial, he is undergoing trial para ma-detect natin na talagang siya may gawa ng isang krimen, So okay, waiting, he is under investigation, so they are prisoner. General classification of prisoners, para maintindihan natin na maayos. Kanina, baka sabi mo yung may detainee tayo, pero ngayon tawag sa kanya is prisoner. So dito natin makaklasify ang tawag sa mga prisoners. Number 1 is we have detention prisoners. Those detained for investigation. Remember, detention prisoners are detained for investigation. Preliminary hearing. When we say preliminary hearing is we are going it is in the process of the court or awaiting trial. So maghihintay ng trial ang isang tao na mayroong kaso. Detainee in a lock-up jail. So detainee in a lock-up jail, so makikita natin sa Bureau of Jail Management o kaya nandun siya sa munisipyo. So yan yung mga example. They are prisoners under the jurisdiction of courts. So those police officers or jail officers responsible for the safekeeping of these people na nakagawa ng krimen, kapag pinatakas ito, so they will be charged with a crime na tinatawag dito assessing or helping a prisoners to escape. So there is a term na alam niyo na, pero makikita natin at the end of the session. Okay, number 2, sentence prisoners. So tingnan natin ang sentence prisoners. Kanina detention prisoners, ngayon sentence prisoner. Pag sinabi natin sentence prisoners, those who have already final decision, final verdict ng court. Offenders who are committed to the jail or prison in order to serve their sentence after final conviction by a competent court. So yan ang definition. Remember, they are prisoners under the jurisdiction of penal institution. So yun, makikita natin ng board exam. So long as mayroon kang naiintindihan sa definition. So madali mo na lang itong matatandaan. Number 3, we have prisoners who are on safekeeping. So meron tayong mga prisoners na safekeeping lang. Includes non-criminal offenders who are detained in order to protect the community against their harmful behavior. Meron tayong example para maintindihan natin. Example is mentally deranged individuals and insane people. So those na mga baliw, may sakit, may problema sa utak, may problema sa pag-iisip. So tinatawag sa kanilang prisoners who are on safekeeping na hindi na kailangan na sila ay maging kriminal. Okay. Then, meron naman tayong classification ng sentenced prisoners. So, sentenced prisoners, those who are prisoners who had already serving or who are going to serve their final sentence. Number 1, insular or national prisoners. Those sentenced to suffer a term of sentence of 3 years and 1 day to life imprisonment. It is included sa prison correctional, if I'm not mistaken, or prison mayor. Those sentenced to suffer a term of imprisonment cited above but appeal the judgment and unable to file a bond for their temporary liberty. So, dito yung mga tinatawag nating sentenced prisoners na hindi makakapagpiyansa. Okay. Provincial prisoners. So, ang provincial prisoners, ito yung mga nasa provincial jail. Those persons sentenced to suffer a term of imprisonment from 6 months and 1 day to 3 years. So, ito ay prison correctional na ito. Or fine not more than 1,000 pesos or both, or those detained therein waiting for preliminary investigation of their cases cognizable by the RTC. Nakita natin? So, yan. So, sa provincial prisoners, mayroon din tayong those detained therein waiting for preliminary investigation of their cases cognizable by the RTC. Bakit? Dahil hindi mo po pwedeng ilagay ang maliit lang ang sentence ng tao dun sa national penitentiaries, di ba? Dahil napakahirap siyang dalhin. Halimbawa, city prisoners, o itong tinatawag nating BGMP, those sentenced to suffer a term of imprisonment from 1 day to 3 years or a fine of not more than 1,000 pesos or both. Those detained therein whose cases are filed with the MTC. Those detained therein whose cases are cognizable by the RTC and under preliminary investigation. So, ang intindihin lang natin dito is yung duration, how long a prisoner would suffer imprisonment in a jail facility. So, makikita natin, pag naintindihan mo na 1 day to 3 years, starting from 1 day, city prisoners. Pero kapag sinabi natin provincial prisoners, ang sentence niya is from 6 months and 1 day to 3 years. So, kapag insular or national penitentiary, 3 years above. Para simple. So, meron din tayong municipal prisoners. Those confined in municipal jails. So, kapag nakita natin ang municipal jails, so, yan ang key terms. To serve an imprisonment from 1 day to 6 months. Those detained therein where trials of their cases are pending with the MTC. Okay. Municipal Trial Court.